A great year financially for the group and a very good year operationally. We produced exactly in line with the production guidance we gave the market, just over 27 million carats. So it was a much better year for us 2016 than 2015. So we saw at the end of 2014 and going into 2015 that there was a little bit of what we call indigestion in the pipeline. And that is in the rough pipeline. Now it's important to remember that all rough diamonds, we largely sell rough diamonds, turn into polished diamonds, which are set and bought by diamond jewelry consumers around the world. And we saw an interesting phenomenon. We saw that diamond jewelry consumption in the jewelry markets was pretty good. And so we weren't really worried about global demand, but there was a bit of a stack up of stock in the midstream, the rough part of the world. So we gently reduced production, and we now find ourselves in a position where inventory levels are much healthier, and we hope to have a better year in 2017. Clearly, the state of the global economy, and particularly in the big four markets in which we sell, is going to determine how 2017 will go for us. And I think whilst we feel cautiously optimistic, and that's the phrase we use, we expect the US to continue to grow, but it remains to be seen what the policy of the incoming administration in the US might mean for us, what a stronger dollar might mean for us. The United States is by some way our most important market. It represented just over 45% of global diamonds sold last year, polished diamonds, set diamonds, which is a tremendous number. China is the next biggest market. If you add Hong Kong and Macau into China, you're at about 16%, and India is about 8%. So I think we're well positioned as an industry for the future. The US promises to continue to grow. It actually did very well in 2016, but the opportunities for us to sell to an expanding middle class in places like China and India are enormous. It had a very powerful effect in the very short term on India for us. India represents about 8% of the diamond jewelry consumption around the world, but a very considerable proportion of the rough diamonds produced around the world are cut and polished in India, even if they aren't ultimately sold in India. And I think the lack of cash in the system from mid-November caused the midstream to stop in India, and so we found that the factories, the cutting and polishing factories, which are largely in Surat in Gujarat province, didn't reopen after the Diwali holiday, and I think that did affect sales in the last two sites of last year. Interesting though, we've seen some positive momentum in the early part of the year. A number of those factories have now reopened. Not as many as there are, so there's still some opportunity for some more upside. But the demonetization shock is, I think, starting to work its way through the system. I think we need to remain cautious for the rest of the year on India, but it's a huge market with enormous potential for De Beers.